Hey friends, James here. If you're a returning viewer, then welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel where we talk about all things bikes. In this video, we're talking about all things coffee. No more bad coffee when you're out on the trails. First of all, what is good coffee? I think everybody's idea of good coffee is different. I'm going to share with you what I think good coffee is. Then we're going to have a look at gear. What kind of gear do you need to be able to make a coffee on the trail? As part of that, we're going to have a look at the gear that I've got here. What I've finally come to realize is my ultimate kit. We're going to break it down into cost, weight of the items, portability, packability, convenience, and I think I'll even brew a coffee. I'll show you how it works. Sit back and enjoy. So what is a good cup of coffee? I think everybody has a different opinion on that. For me, good coffee starts with fresh coffee. And by fresh coffee, I mean coffee that was roasted recently, preferably by your local coffee roaster. Fresh, as in roasted within the last couple of days. If the coffee's been roasted maybe a month ago or longer, it's kind of not fresh anymore. The next thing I'm looking for when I'm buying coffee, other than freshness, is the roast level. I'm looking for a coffee that's not too dark, not something that I would use in an espresso machine, but something medium or light roast that suits pour over style, French press, aeropress, dripper. Those coffees just tend to lend themselves better to those manual brewing techniques. So, quick summary, fresh is best. Buy fresh coffee from your local coffee roaster and look for something that is roasted specifically for filter brewing. Let's check out the gear that you need to make great tasting coffee on the trail. You need a hand grinder if you're going to grind your coffee fresh. Fresh is best, let's not forget that. Here I've got 3 different hand grinders in different price ranges, different weights, different sizes, and of different quality. A cup. I've got a cook set, a gas canister and a stove. I've got 3 different coffee brewers that I want to show you today. They are all pour over coffee brewers, meaning they take a filter paper, I put the coffee in them, hot water goes over the top, and drip, 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 coffee comes out the bottom. First of all, let's have a look at hand grinders. I've got 3 here that I really want to talk about. Let's start with this one. This is actually an excellent coffee grinder, and I highly recommend this one for the trail. It's made in Japan by a company called Porlex. It's made of stainless steel. The burrs inside the grinder, I believe they are made of porcelain, and they're adjustable. Turn to adjust the coarseness of the grind. I've been using this for years. I really love it and I highly recommend it. It's about 110 Australian dollars and it weighs, checking my notes, 228 grams. Not bad. Next one in my list here, actually I only got this one this week to try out. This is by a company called Uniflame, and I think it's called the Q Air. Kind of looks a bit like the Porlex. It's about the same diameter, but it's slightly taller than the Porlex and slightly heavier. The Porlex was 228, the Uniflame is 366 grams. Now, they look kind of similar. The main difference is the handle and the lid is completely integrated. The grinds basket, if we could call it that, screws on and off. This is also made of plastic. This one of stainless steel. Just pulls off. But the key biggest difference between the Uniflame and the Porlex is the burr set inside is hardened steel. And I don't know if you can see in there, adjustable just like the Porlex. This one, it's called the Feldgrind, and it's by a company called Made by Munieq, and I think they're handmade in Scotland. This is a beautiful grinder. I'm just going to move these out of the way. You can order them in any color you like, or at least once upon a time you could, and it's just gorgeous. Like, it has this lovely knurled adjustment mechanism in the top. It looks a little bit like a something you'd see on a fancy camera, like a photography camera. It's made of aluminium or aluminum for my American friends, and also hardened steel burr. And I believe the burr set is probably similar in size to the 1Z Presso, not too different. Now, it looks heavier because it is, looking at my notes, 542 grams. So almost 200 grams heavier than the 1Z Presso Q Air. So what's the difference? What's the main difference between all these grinders? I mean, obviously there's weight. When you're bikepacking, hiking, touring, weight is a pretty big factor. You're trying to trim down as much as possible. But let's be honest, if you're a coffee snob like me, on the trails, wanting to make coffee, you're willing to carry the stuff. It's the luxury, it's the want to have, or the like to have, more so than the need to have. So how does a coffee grinder work? Pretty straightforward. Take the lid off, put the coffee in, make sure it's set to the correct grind size, which it's going to take a bit of experimentation, and then grind. Okay, so let's look at my 3 favorite coffee brewing devices. Now, I think all 3 of these are made in Japan. They're all stainless steel and they're all of the same quality. The main differences with these is probably the price, the weight, and I guess the convenience, or like the packability. So let's have a look at them. First, I've got the Snow Peak Coffee Dripper. I've had that for a long time. It's one of my all-time favorites. Folds flat, which is pretty neato. It weighs 139 grams and is the heaviest of these 3 drippers. I think it's also the most expensive at around 70 or 80 Australian dollars. It will accept a size 1 or a size 2 paper filter. This is a Hario V60 paper, and that just goes on your receiving vessel, your coffee mug. Pretty straightforward. Next one is the Uniflame coffee dripper. It's folds flat, comes in a little pouch. It's kind of a springy coffee maker, and a lot like the Snow Peak, it again will take either of these coffee papers. It weighs 98 grams, so it's a little bit lighter weight than the Snow Peak. And last but not least, my very favorite, and the one I've been taking on all my trips lately, is the size of about a credit card. So 3 pieces of stainless steel. It's called a Munieq, M-U-N-I-E-Q, Tetra drip, and it apparently comes in stainless steel or plastic. So I will build it for you now. It only takes a second. 3 pieces that just sort of clip together like so. And then onto your mug, and it will take either a size 2 or a size 1 coffee paper. The size 2 does stick out a little. The size 1's probably more suited. And given most of the time I'm making coffee for one person, that's more than enough. Now that coffee brewer, that device, it weighs 25 grams. 25 grams, 98 grams, 140 grams. Now, I'm not a huge weight weenie or gram counter, to be honest. It's kind of not the main factor why this is my favorite brewer. The key reason why this is my favorite is because, again, it packs down to nothing. Like, it's about a credit card size, which means I can pack it anywhere on my bike really easily. Go in your pocket, go anywhere. So that's my all-time favorite. Now, all these 3 coffee brewers, as I mentioned, they all use a Hario V60 filter paper, which means they are a coffee dripper, and it is what is known as the pour-over style of coffee, which I will be demonstrating shortly. Enough talk. I'm craving a coffee, so the moment you've been waiting for has arrived. Let's do it. Cook set. Everyone has a different kind of cook set. This is a Snow Peak TI Solo, which comes with 2 pots. and fits my gas can and a few other things inside of it. I think we'll use the larger pot. And this is my stove. It is a Snow Peak Giga stove. You can't buy these in Australia. I actually bought it while I was on holiday in California when I went to Yosemite National Park. And that's how I acquired it. But I do have a jet boil as well, which is pretty good. Okay, we'll leave this here for now. We'll put some water in there. About half a litre, more than enough. You need about 250 or 280 ml for the coffee, and the rest I use for cleanup when I'm at camp. And I won't put that on yet because it's pretty noisy, but what we'll do is we'll grind the coffee. Just get some of these things out of the way. Now I've come up with a little trick for measuring the right amount of coffee. The right amount of coffee is important because if you get that wrong, it might not taste how you expect. It could be too strong, too weak, bitter, sour, over-extracted, under-extracted. So technical. But what I've got here is a little plastic scoop, which actually came with one of my other coffee brewers, the Hario V60. Turns out it's exactly the right amount of coffee for my cup, which is about 16 grams to 240 or 250 ml of water, roughly. When I'm out on the trail, it's not a huge deal if I don't get it perfectly right, like at home. You know, I've got scales at home and temperature controlled kettle and all those kinds of things, but for the purposes of this, or even just the purpose of making coffee on the trail, close enough is good enough. So it's 1 scoop of coffee. It should be flat, pretty good, into the coffee grinder, and grind.
A few moments later.
It's done. You know it's done when it doesn't take anything to grind it anymore. All right. Ooh, that is nice. Let's assemble the brewer. Only takes a sec. Onto the cup. Paper filter goes in. Coffee goes in there. You can rinse the paper filter with some water to remove the paper taste, but you know, not desperate. Sometimes when I'm on the trail, I can't afford even a little bit of extra water. All right, let's get this stove going and boil this water.
A few moments later.
Ooh yeah, that'll do. Turn that off. Hopefully not too hot, a little bit hot. All right. What is this thing? This is a cool little trick I came up with recently that I found online. It's called, I think it's called a skitter. Let's see how the skitter goes. It's basically a tiny pouring water spout. Let's see if I can get a bit of a close up here. And it's designed to give a better pour. Yeah, it's not bad, it's not great. I think you can see that. It's making a bit of a mess actually. Well, now it's working really well. The idea is to have a little bit of pour control rather than just smashing all the water all in there at once, because it is a drip coffee. For a 1 cup pour over, I kind of want around 2 to 3 minutes of the water contacting the coffee, and the brew to be done after sort of 2 or 3 minutes. Any longer than that, it's probably going to be a bit over extracted. Might not get sort of the taste that I'm looking for. Oh, the smell. And I think that'll do it. Got a little bit of water left over. That would be for my cleanup. So if I'm on the trail and I want to wash my cup and my brewer, I'll use the leftover water from the pot to just clean that up quickly. Ooh. I'm telling you. Oh, it smells good. All right, that's pretty much finished dripping. So now, I'm not sure that'll sit there. I'll try that. The ultimate test. Oh my gosh, it's probably gonna be too hot, but I'm desperate for a coffee. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to turn the camera off because this is gonna get very intimate. On a serious note though, look, there's no right or wrong way. Remember the key things. Freshness is important. To maintain that freshness while you're out on the trail, you kind of need to have a small coffee grinder. If you don't, that's okay. Grind your coffee at home or ask your shop to grind the coffee and just take it with you in a bag or a container onto your trip. It won't be as fresh, but it's probably going to be better than one of those instant freeze-dried coffee sachet things that you can buy at the supermarket. So yeah, tell me in the comments below, do you take coffee when you're going out on your trips, camping, hiking, bike riding, bike packing, touring, camping in huts, camping in tents, four-wheel drive camping? If you do, how do you do it? What gear do you use? Where do you buy your coffee from? What's your preferred method? Do you use an aeropress, a French press? Do you use one of those little portable presso machines, like a nano presso or a rock? There's so many different types. I've lost count of how many coffee makers that I've got in my cupboard at home, so many. I do have an aeropress that's a very popular choice for people that are bikepacking or camping, but I've just found it a little bulky and cumbersome to travel with, which is why I've gone to this pour over method. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and life's too short for bad coffee, guys. No bad coffee on the trail. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below, like, subscribe. See you in the next video.